I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Arnold has a conflict in her schedule tonight. She will join us if possible later. Okay, opening the board meeting. I'm looking for a motion to approve the minutes. I move that we approve the minutes as submitted. Can I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None heard? Carried. All right, we are going up to expenditures. Can I get an authorization to pay the bills?
I'm gonna make a motion that we authorize the payment of the bills from the A Fund vouchers number 718 through 772 in the amount of $90,932.03. From the F and G Fund vouchers number 206 through 227 in the amount of $18,315.30. And from the TNA Fund voucher number 20 in the amount of $1,759.08.
I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None heard? Carried. All right, at this time, we have privilege of the floor. I believe first we have Living History Center for privilege of the floor.
Thank you, right here.
Yep, right there.
Anywhere you
Just-
want.
Yeah.
Good evening. First, thank you very much for having me here. And thank you very much for allowing the use of the Lineal Parkland last weekend for our music festival. We took up 3/4 of your field and it's back in the original condition that we received it in, so thank you. My request tonight is to use it 3 more times. Not nearly as expensive as what we just did. But on October the 4th, we have our 8th annual all wheels show. This is basically like a car show, but anything on wheels is eligible to be there. Our registration starts at 9, the event ends at 3. So we're looking to park overflow there. Also, Saturday, October the 11th is our 6th annual fire truck show and first responder show. This is kind of like touch a truck for the kids when it comes to the first responders event. It's also the City of Cortland Fire Department will have their smokehouse there. 911 dispatchers will be there that day, so kids can actually call 911 and talk to a 911 operator and see how 911 would talk them through an emergency if they have it. We do have at the same time, hopefully TLC will be bringing an ambulance over, so ambulance folks can work with them. Sheriff's Department, state troopers, and Homer Police may also be in and out as the day goes and their staffing allows. And then last year, Pat drove by and unbeknownst to me, overflow parking had gone into that same park for a vintage snowmobile show and swap meet on Saturday. This year will be Saturday, October the 25th. Same situation. Last year we had 150 vintage snowmobiles in our parking lot and our back lots. But we are finding that each year this show gets bigger and bigger and we're just looking for overflow parking. And just as I did for the last event, we'll be more than happy to provide you with COIs and make sure that the ground is in the same shape that it's left in when we are finished. So
I don't have any problem with that.
I'd appreciate it.
I like it.
Well, you can encourage your snowmobilers to then come to our October Fest here in the village, since it's gonna be that safe.
Okay, what time is that?
It starts at 5:30.
5:30.
Oh, perfect.
5 to 8, there's
Shut-
brats and beer.
Shut down Main Street, is that?
No, at a community building.
Okay.
Community building.
And we also will be.
German,
doing-
yeah, hey, I
Yeah.
gotta like it. You know,
We'll
Binder.
also be doing food and most of these events will have some music and that kind of stuff with them as well, so. Any other questions?
I'll entertain a motion to allow the CNY LHC use of the property on those dates with the standard insurance riders and COIs.
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Discussion? This is great for our area, community and tourism. That's all I have to say on that. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None heard, motion carried.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, son.
Thank you. You don't have to stay.
I'll wait till we see what else is going on here.
We do have, I'd like to move with the board's approval, presentation from the Methodist Church. Well, first of all, do we have anybody else for privilege of the floor? Mike.
If you want a quick update, like to say things were quiet in the town, but they're not. We just finished our highway garage building, so that project is over, but now this one is in full swing. Demo is 3/4% completed. What a difference it looks like down there. It's amazing. They got the 2 lots left to come out, so I'm hoping. I was hoping by the end of the week, but probably be middle of next week. I think the demo will be all done. And then there's gonna be saw cutting. Here, the village is putting the water line in. We appreciate that. Next is gonna be the sewer line. So we're gaining and it's coming along very nicely. Just a lot of little things that you never plan on in a project like this, but we're coming good. And of course, the town, our budget, I gotta present a budget first part of October, so we're working diligently on that. So I thought I'd visit you guys and we'll work on my budget, but
Okay.
Hey, it's gonna, that downstairs is gonna really, be wonderful for the village.
it's gonna be good for everybody.
Oh, everybody, I agree.
Thanks, Mike. Anybody else for privilege of the floor? All right, with the board's consent, I would like to move new business item D. Next presentation from the Methodist Church, since they're here with us tonight.
Sure.
Does the board have any issues with that?
Nope, no.
Hi there, welcome. I'm Matt Newman, lifetime member of the Methodist Church. And I have with me tonight Steve Mosher of our chair of our trustees. Sherry DeSantis is our church council. So our pastor had a conflict, he may be coming in, I'm not sure, Reverend Park.
Mhm.
So basically, we wanted to just really just kind of have dialogue on this, I don't know if we're gonna be able to resolve everything or anything tonight. But I tried really hard to work with our church group and come forth our ideas that I put in some materials that Reverend Park circulated and I circulated that he put together with our assistants. And just kind of answer questions and kind of maybe work through this challenge together. I mean, obviously, there's a challenge or we wouldn't be presented with a document, right? So we've had very good work sessions with John Sid's office, who represents First Religious Society, the village attorney, Mr. Casulo, my office. I think that's all the parties at the moment that's been on the working group. So this has to do with the maintenance of Central Park Place, right? Yeah, Central Park Place.
And the school.
And the school, correct, yes. New superintendent, new business manager. So I didn't know if the board had questions for us or if our materials came across and you could absorb them or like how you wanted us to act or proceed. So we just very grateful you gave us a few minutes here.
Well, first of all, this is not a tax. Okay,
This is not what's.
this is not a tax. We are not taxing for the road.
No, I understand.
I saw that taxing the organization. I just want to make sure that this is, what's come up is this is a private road.
Yeah.
And, Paul, we have Paula here from the First Congregational Church or the First Religious Society. Which hat are you wearing tonight?
First Religious Society,
Okay.
same thing, so.
Yeah. So it comes down to, there's a very old agreement that covers the maintenance of the green. And we're trying to discern some things with the green versus the road because there's other issues tied with it. We are strictly in the not negotiation, but the discussion phase. Because as it stands right now, the village cannot expend funds on a private road. Now, when this document was done 50, 70 plus years ago, times were different than they are now. So what we are trying to do is get a more up-to-date document that is beneficial to all parties and does not put the onus on one in particular, because we at the village level have restrictions placed upon us at the state, which would open us for liability concerns as well. So that's kind of what's driving this. This issue is not the sole issue that we have found in the village as development is occurring throughout. We are finding many times that there are old documents, incomplete documents, sites that overlap sites, which create conflict. And so as our village attorney can attest to, we've been keeping him and his blood pressure very busy. But if you have, so as far as the current agreement that you and I think the rest of your members saw, that was just a starting point, and by no means do we feel that that is an end point. We understand the position of the Methodist Church. I can't speak for everybody else here, but I can say I am very grateful for everything that church does. The food pantry alone is amazing and does such wonderful work for our entire community, not just our community, but actually the county. So we know what that entails. There was an issue, there was a question in here that I wanted to answer, that is the Little White Church and the Center for the Arts driving this what is happening now, and the answer to that is no. This has been going on before that came upon us. Is it impacted? Absolutely. Are they part of the solution? Absolutely. But they were not the driving force that caused this. This had been festering for probably 5-6 years. And the can has been kicked down the road, and we are deciding that no more. We are going to solve this like adults and create something better for the future, so that 5-10 years down the road, we're not facing the same problem again. Does any of your members have any questions for us?
I think, yeah, go ahead, if there's any member.
I just don't know if Sherry or Steve wanna add anything to what I said, or.
I do hope that, because I know you've gotten those documents relatively recently, we are not even making our commitments to the United Methodist Conference. We are behind in that. I know the letter already states that aging populations approaching 70 on Social Security, whatever. But the financing, the money is not there. We are struggling. We are one of the only people with a full-time minister. We're struggling to pay salaries, and we simply don't have the money. And I'm sure that's clearly stated in the documents.
I can't speak for, I understand the position that you're in.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
I think, Pat, you were in attendance, we had, I think it was Thursday, I could be wrong, Thursday, we had a video conference amongst the parties, I think that was right. I think everybody that was at the conference agrees, whether it was a school district, a church, the village. The time has come to maybe modernize the documents that we're working from. I think everyone agrees for that. I think everyone is striving to resolve this in an amicable way that's going to benefit the entire village. At the end of the day, I know there are some possible New York State requirements, but also at the end of the day, to have a road that services a school and a church. So I would imagine the state is not gonna tell us to shut down the road. So I'm sure they're gonna work with us to try to find a solution here. So I think we will find a solution. I think everyone's agreed to modernize the documents. I think at this point, in all fairness to the school district, brand new administration, and they've had some other things to deal with beginning of the school year. So in fairness to them, they're just getting involved in this. So I think, what I think we'll do from the village standpoint is I'll start making the contacts with the state, whoever would be talking, whether it's the Attorney General, probably would be the first start to go with to see what that department says, but there's got to be something we can do. And I think the time has come, because I think you use the term kick the can down the road, everyone agrees it's got to stop. So I think now we'll talk more in earnest about what the village can and cannot do. But I think it would be great if by the end of the year, if not sooner, we have some idea of where we're going for 26. But I think it's in everyone's best interest, including the village, that we all work together
try to find some common ground and get this matter resolved so that, people that are sitting here 20, 25 years from now don't have to deal with a document that's 150 years old or 175 years old. And we do something that unequivocally, not only addresses the situation now, but we work some mechanisms in the agreements that we do, that if it needs to get amended, it's much easier to be amended. So that's what I think, the commitment, I think, from the village should be, obviously, that we're gonna try to work our best to do our part to reach an agreement with all the parties.
And I just want to emphasize too, we are eager to contribute to that. We just don't have unlimited funding. We clearly use it, we benefit from it. It's our home away from home.
Yeah.
We just don't have a huge cash flow to contribute, but we would like to be a part of that. We would like to contribute something. Okay.
Sure, I understand.
Thank you.
We want to tell the village, your council has been tremendous, the First Religious people tremendous, the school district has been tremendous, so. I think that everyone is vested in Homer that's working on this, so we'll give you our commitment to continue that,
And you have ours.
so.
That's why we love Homer, get along.
Well, thank you for that, okay?
Thank you. All right, does any of the board members have any questions?
No, I think, Fran said it right, we gotta solve this, and because we're working with friends, we'll make it work,
Okay,
it'll work some way.
thank you, thank you. You guys are more than welcome to stay, but you don't have to if you don't want to.
Good luck.
Come on, we're getting ready to talk about budget numbers.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Let's see, okay, well, we got that. We will go ahead and cover quickly, grants update, and if you just give a quick overview like we discussed in the,
We had a robust conversation about monies coming in. Last time, money still outstanding is the salt shed. The extension is gonna be needed for the dam project. And possibly an extension for walkable Homer, depending on how much linear feet they actually completed this year. That has been tallied up. It also has to see how much funding is actually left over. So that'll be forthcoming.
great. Just so everybody knows, we did finish Cayuga Street.
Oh, nice.
That was great. So now that we've got that done, like Dan said, we will do a reevaluation. With Phil when he gets back from vacation, Dan and myself on where we stand.
Any updates on DRI kind of stuff? I know we've got some
So
grants for some housing and stuff like that, that's been working, right?
hold on, we're getting there.
What? People want to know. People want to know.
So I did sign the agreement for the IDA BDC, so they will be taking over a portion of the DRI. So more to follow on that. That's very exciting. They've got Melanie Velarde there, and they're very interested in moving forward, so that will be something taken off our plate, and looking forward to that. All right. So, for anybody that doesn't know who that wonderful woman is right over there, that's Marianne. She is our new village treasurer, who has been working so diligently on our finances, along with Jim and ProNexus. So at this point, we are going to do the treasurer's report, which you guys have in your packet. We have extra copies if anybody else wants them. Well, they'll all flood the.
I know, everybody,
Okay. Thanks, Mike.
I don't want you to.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, good evening, everybody. So please bear with me as we go through our first round of reports. This is something that we will continue to work on together so that we present reports that are useful and helpful to you and very understandable. And as always, I'm here for questions, and if you need further details, I can provide that after our meeting and so forth. So in your packet, all right, you have the general fund. I got myself discombobulated here. There we go. All right. We'll start with, do you have the cover page with the fund, the various accounts or? Yes, that wasn't.
Anyone revenues or,
The treasurer's report with the bank balances, or was that not in?
that is not it.
That was not in there, okay, all right, we'll visit that the next time that, all right, so we will start with the general fund. Report with our general fund budget. And. We tried to talk with Pat and with Dan, and we wanted to present it so it was easy and simplified. So in the very top, you will see our revenue and our expenditures. The modified budget is for our revenue, $3,916,676.92. And the expenditures, $3,978,384.51. And there was an appropriated fund balance of minus $61,707.59 that carried forward from the prior budget to balance out the numbers. We have actual numbers, our revenue, and this is March 1st through June 30th, $2,328,423.75, which leaves a remaining budget of $1,588,253.17, or 40.6% remaining. On the expenditure line, we have expended $1,762,768.20. So we have a remaining budget of $2,215,616.31, or 55.7% remaining. All in all, if you take the revenues less the expenditures for general fund, we are ahead $565,655.55. And then below, tried to do a visual. On the left-hand side, it is the budget numbers for 25-26, with the light color beige being the revenue piece and the blue, the expenditure piece. Then to the right of that, we have the actual numbers, with the beige being the actual revenue and the blue, the actual expenditures. And you can see that the beige is ahead of the blue, so we are ahead as of June 30th.
Well, I think we're doing pretty well, given that we've done 1/3 of the year. Revenues we should have gotten through taxes and, the minuscule crap that county's given us for taxes and what have you. But your expenditures remaining is 55.7. If you kind of just did a dorky kind of third, should be 60%, but 55.7, damn close.
Pretty close.
I'm quite happy. So I think we're doing pretty well managing the budget for the community so far. I'm happy.
So we originally wanted to get up to second quarter, but because of trying to close out our budget from last year to AFR. So if any of the trustees, as you look at this, maybe not tonight, but if you go back, you got questions or you think that something can be done better, let us know, because by October, we will be able to do the second quarter and get us up to the 6 months. And so consider this as refinement. And we'll have a refined product in October, second meeting in October.
Oh,
Yes,
this
so
is
we can bring
great.
that numbers to you tonight.
Yeah.
And then to go along with what I just reviewed, the next two sheets. You will have a summary of the revenues and the summary of the expenditures. That coincide with the numbers that I just read to you. Okay. So go ahead and look them over at your leisure, and then I'm here for any question. And you can move on to the water fund, which is the F fund. And same thing. We have our budget, the revenue of $397,750 and expenditures of $395,365. So we have an appropriated fund balance of $2,385 carried forward from the last budget year. Our actual numbers, revenue as of June 30th, $100,551.56. Expenditures, $111,095. So there is a loss of 10,449.39 as of June 30th. Our remaining budget in the revenue, 297,198.44, or 74.7%. And our remaining budget in the expenditures, 284,364.05, or 71.9%.
I don't have a problem with that 10,000 expenses, because now where it's warm, they're fixing things. You don't wanna be fixing them when it's below zero and things like that. And $10,000 worth of parts, or that would be just one hydrant almost. So I mean, if we just had to replace one hydrant, they're $10,000. So I think we're doing very well here also.
And likewise, the following two sheets behind that are the summary of revenues and the summary of expenditures, which back up.
And the revenues come in as we charge every
Correct.
for water.
Correct.
So
We're getting ready
so
for
that's
that.
okay too.
It's just a moving
Yeah, we're
target.
doing good, I think. Yeah.
Good, Keith is joining us by Zoom tonight, and you know, he and his team have been so on the ball whenever there's any kind of emergency or problem that pops up, and certainly it's not the sort of service that can ever be delayed if there's a bad safe delivery of water. They have to be on it and they have to, so it's great that they are also so mindful of the responsibilities of the budget, and
We're lucky to have it.
we have a great team.
Okay, if you're ready, I can go over the sewer fund, which is the G fund. And this will be the last fund that we roll over. Our budget for the sewer fund revenue, $684,292. Our expenditures, $684,292. So there's no appropriated fund balance that carried forward. The actual expenditures for till June 30th. The actual revenue, $114,646.79 for revenue. Expenditures are $207,197.90. We do have a loss of $92,551.11, and Dan and Pat will speak to that when I'm finished. Our remaining budget for the revenue, $569,645.21, 83.2%. And for expenditures remaining, $477,094.10, or 69.7%. So
It's again, and we have some upfront expenditures, but we are on track for our planning and budgeting. And we have not seen anything out of the ordinary so far, unless Keith has something, but we are on track. Any questions on that?
No, it looks that way. No, I like that. Thank you.
Okay,
Any questions for Mary Ellen?
I do want to take an opportunity with Mary Ellen, since you're here tonight. I think that since you joined our village and you went through your onboarding, we really haven't had a meeting go by where we don't say again and again how grateful we are that you're here. We are so pleased with how you've organized things and the output and the clear communication. I know you're never gonna get a chance to meet most of the village residents, and they're not going to know you, but you are having a tremendous impact on how this village operates, and we all see that again and again, and we're so pleased that you're
I
here.
appreciate that, and I do get to meet many of the residents because I'm a notary public. So that's and I get to meet the doggies, and I get to say hello, and I feel very at home here. You all have been so welcoming to me, and I'm very comfortable. I love working with Pat and with Dan and Maureen and Melissa. So I'm very, very thankful.
A little concerned about your drive in from Amber this morning.
Spinning, I am too. Then you forced on its snow tires. Go slow.
If you're late, that's okay.
Thank you. I'm not gonna.
We're
fight
not
with Mother
that,
Nature.
we're not that tough. We would rather keep.
That was the only
Not
downside.
broken or hurt. No, good.
One thing I think that did come up last week when Pat was not here, on our last meeting when Pat was not here, was I think we were approving just some shifts from one account to another to, I don't know.
I will be doing that on a more regular basis.
And it was very straightforward, but it did just remind us that it might be a good idea for the trustees to have a meeting with you at some point during your regular business hours so that we can ask any questions and have some of the the new modern techniques that you are bringing to our office to organize things.
Yes.
So that we can kind of speak your language and understand things a little
Absolutely.
better. If we have questions from
We can
residents.
arrange that. Anytime, we can sit down and work that out. Okay. All right.
Thanks, Marion.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Everybody.
Appreciate it. Fran, how are you on time?
I'm fine, go ahead. Go ahead. I get stay here and.
Okay. Next up, approve the winning bid for the Smart Growth Comprehensive Plan Update RFP. You guys see that we have Highland Planning here. And, I have to say that we had 5
There's 6 proposals,
Six
5
proposals.
responses.
5 responses. We narrowed it down to 2. One was Highland, one was Toma. We interviewed both Highland and Toma, and both were strong. However, Dan and I felt that Highland had the overall better product that we could use. And just for those that don't know, Highland was also involved with our DRI.
Really?
And they helped us. They were part of the reason why we got the DRI. So,
Oh, this they helped Toma help.
yeah, and then they came back and they helped us with the presentations,
Oh, great.
and not the presentations,
Public outreach.
the public outreach,
Okay.
So, feel very strongly, with the board's, we can, approval, I'd like to go with Highland, but we can of course discuss this.
No, I
I'll make a motion,
I-
we go with them.
felt the same. I'm gonna second that motion.
All right, discussions?
If you're happy, I'm happy.
Ed, order?
That's the amount, right? 83,595?
Believe that's what it was. Now, we are on the hook for, was it 8,500, Dan?
Right, and 8,500 is ours, the rest is the state's, and as you see, they come in a little bit under, so it'll be a little bit less for us to.
Yeah. That was one of our deciding factors when we did.
Imagine it was.
So,
Well, we need to do a comprehensive plan. It's been over 10
Absolutely.
years. And so this is way important to help us go forward.
Many of their members are comprehensive planners and had just finished up some other stuff. They are at the tail end of some of their other projects, so they are ready to go as soon as we approve this. And this will help with our timeline.
What is our timeline for this? Do we have one?
Yes, we
Monday.
do.
At the end of the year will be the second biannual reporting to the state. We'll ask for an extension because if you looked at the RFP response from them, they have basically a 2-year timeline. And the grant sunsets in September of 2026. So we'll have to get a extension out till September 2027.
We talked with them, and when we looked at their timeline, it was a standard timeline, but they also said that they can probably decrease the timeline. But they generally just, for their own methods, had it out to 2 years.
Okay.
But they say that it is not unreasonable to expect them to bring this in sooner, which would help us.
Don't help, I do not think you could do it by September 26th, just so you know.
Yeah,
Wanna make sure it's out there, but it
Not that-
doesn't necessarily have to go all the way to September 27th.
Yeah.
Right. Not that soon.
Right.
All right, so we have a motion, we have a second.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None heard, motion carried. Jerry?
Yes.
Excellent. I was glad you got the, all right, next up, Jerry King.
Hi.
Sorry to see the arm.
Yeah, I got a little bit of a car accident over the weekend and I'm gonna have surgery in the next few days, but I wanted to come out and see you all, so thanks for having me.
So
Is it all right if I sit here?
It's all right to sit, just come up with a better story. Say you were boxing. And,
I've tried to play, haven't paid my bookie. I tried dirt bike at the X Games. Yeah, I had a couple.
All right, Jerry's gonna talk to us about PFAS. Go ahead.
PFAS is.
PFASs, all right.
Yeah. PFAS, it's a abbreviation for what we refer to as forever chemicals. People are calling them forever chemicals because these chemicals don't break down for like 1,000 years. It's basically about 27 chemicals that make up the PFAS group. I'll later explain that there's two in particular that we're more focused on, but kind of the backstory is there's a number of products that are sold into our communities that contain these. So some is waterproof clothing, some is Teflon pans. Where my office, so I'm a lawyer out of Rochester in Geneva. Where my office got involved in these types of cases was with firefighting foam. So fire departments have a foam that they shoot to put out fires. Usually it's the big fires. We've got a lot of experience on how it works by going to some of the airports. Rochester Airport in particular, they gave us a demonstration of how they would put out a fire. When the big companies like 3M and DuPont made this firefighting foam back in the 60s and 70s, they tested it in-house on rats and mice and whatever else. They found that it had dangerous propensities and that it was causing cancer and different issues with the animals. But like some big companies, they didn't want to affect the bottom line, so they didn't tell anybody. They didn't change the makeup of the product, and they sold it into our community for 60 years. So basically, our airports, our fire departments, our fire training facilities all over the country were using this product, and it gets in the ground, and it gets in the rivers and the lakes and the creeks, and it has just made its way through our whole country. The good news, at least to me, is from what I've seen from like Buffalo to the Albany area where we're mainly working, the contamination is low in comparison to the rest of the country. So we're representing 40 municipalities in that kind of Buffalo to Albany area, mostly Finger Lakes region and in this area as well. And mainly what we're seeing is what's called 1 to 2 parts per trillion. So they measure in parts per trillion. At one point, the EPA wanted people under 100 parts per trillion. Then they said, try to get under 70 parts per trillion. Then they said, try to get under 10. Now it's at 4. They're hoping that people are under 4. Pretty much everybody that we're working with is about a 1 to a 2 at the raw water stage. So for Western New York, that's very good. I compare it to bottled water. I'm a big seltzer drinker. I've been checking out the Spindrift, and Spindrift is one of the great brands. They are saying the Spindrift comes in at like a 1 or less. I used to drink Polar. They were saying that Polar was coming in at about a 4. I switched to Waterloo because that was coming in at approximately a 1. So I've made the comparison. I didn't test it myself, but I've made the comparison that around here, most of our water is going to be Spindrift, Waterloo. If you go down to Florida or something like that, depending on the area, you might see 4s and 5s, 20s, things like that. Where people were getting really sick were in areas where there was 1,000 parts per trillion. This was right by military bases. This was right by those big fire departments, these airports, major industrial areas. You're going to have higher numbers in a Philadelphia or a Pittsburgh. So basically what we're doing, let me backtrack a little bit. A group of lawyers got together with a group of municipalities and said, we shouldn't have any of this in our water. Let's sue the people who put it there. So the lawyers and the municipalities sued 3M, DuPont, a group of these companies. So far, it's settled for $14+ billion, B with a bill per billion. And there's basically a big chunk of money sitting there where municipalities can go and grab some of that money. So what you'd have to show is that there is a contamination, even if it's a trace amount, and that you're basically a producer of water. So Homer is a producer of water. I'm not aware that any previous testing that you've done has showed results of PFAS, but I can tell you of the 40 places that we're working with, every single place we've tested, there's been at least a trace. In my opinion, there was a big issue that was happening. So the last few years, there's been testing through the EPA. It's been called UCMR5. UCMR5, the EPA was trying to capture who is above a 4 part per trillion. So they were using testing kits that would find 4 parts per trillion and up. they were calling non-detect anything under a 4. Well, we've switched the lab and we've switched the kit, still a great lab, very highly recommended, EPA lab. They can go down to a 1 part per trillion. So I worked with Canandaigua Lake, who said we don't have it. Said, let's try again. Got a 1 part per trillion. I worked with Penn Yan on Cuca Lake. Said we don't have any. Said let's try our lab, a 1 part per trillion. So what I'm getting at is that over and over again, we've seen a 1 part per trillion in this area. So what we do is we work on a contingency fee. We front the cost of testing. So if you all decided you wanted to work with us, we would kind of bring in our lab. We would have a kit or multiple kits. I think you have 3 wells in Homer here that draw the water. So we'd get 3 kits. They're $550 a piece. My office would pay for those $1,500 or $1,650. Those would be overnighted. We do the testing. I expect just based on the area that we would see a result of about a 1. It would make you all eligible for funds. We don't get paid unless you get paid. If the testing doesn't come back or we don't go through this settlement and receive money for you all, we would eat the costs. We would eat the cost of the testing. We would eat the cost of the filing. That would be our loss of a few $1,000s, and that would be our problem. It hasn't happened yet. I'd say of the 40 folks that we're representing, we've gotten real checks for 20 of them so far. There was 2 different timelines. There was what was called phase 1. Those are our members who have clients who have gotten paid, and we are currently working on what's considered phase 2. But it was just in the last few months that we've gotten the real checks from the settlement and distributed those to our clients. But some of our clients are Corning, Elmira, Horseheads, Watkins Glen. We just started working with Cortland. And then we're working with Oswego up on Lake Ontario, Seneca Falls, Geneva, Canandaigua. Perry is on Silver Lake. Just really all the Finger Lakes really is where we've spent a lot of our time.
Board members, any questions?
What's the
Wow,
best
didn't know it.
recovery from the settlement fund if something came out as a 1 part?
I can give you a ballpark. It is pretty volume based and contamination based. Population is a way I can ballpark it. I would ballpark you all at about 100,000. The way that it would be higher is if your contamination level was much higher than I'm predicting. But I haven't seen anybody in this area with a really high number, and I think you probably would have already caught it. So I am expecting it to be low. But also just water volume, if you're selling water to one of your neighbors, it can be bumped up. If you have a college, you sometimes bumped up. So population isn't the best way of doing it. It's more, so what we do is we do intake water volume. We'll get with your treatment plant and say, can we please have water volume data for 10 years from 2023 to 2013. We look at about a 10-year window. We're going to grab 3 highest years and average them together. That's very fair game, but it has been surprising how much fluctuation there can be from year to year. We see sometimes 400 million gallons a year, and then the next year 500 million gallons. And we do intake because there is that's fair game as well, but there is quite a bit of loss right in the facility, whether that's cleaning or I don't know where the loss is exactly, but there's a higher number coming in than what's going out to customers, and you're allowed to use that. They prefer you use that intake volume.
Do you have a question?
No, I kind of think it's probably a good idea.
What's the time frame for the whole process?
So if you all wanted to work with us, the testing portion would take a few weeks, maybe a month, for when we initiate it. There is a deadline that we start filing by the end of the year. Then I would expect payment 27. So I think by the end of the year is when we have to begin the action. There'd be some supplemental things happening in 26. We would expect funds in 27. There's a little bit of an asterisk on timeline because we just went through phase 1, and what was promised to us for a timeline on phase 1 got bumped back. What we were told was that it got complicated. Basically, there was a fund. And say there's 99 people who are going to get paid on the fund. Or it's going to be 100 people, they need to distribute the whole fund. So the fund distributes differently, whether there's 99 parties or 100 parties. And there was a complication with like a few appeals and a couple issues. So they hung on to the money a quarter or 4 or 5 months longer than they kind of had promised. It did pay out, but there was a snag. So the expectation is 27, but hopefully they've ironed out issues so that it's on time.
And the money's unstipulated, it just goes into the general budget, it's not, it doesn't have to be
Correct.
used for water.
It does not, so it would go
If
to,
it did, it wouldn't.
No, I know, I get it, but I'm just saying, it's unstipulated.
yeah, it would be a check to the village. Some towns don't manage their own, they have like a municipal water utility department. Then it would be a check to that municipal department, and I guess it would stay within that department, but as long as you are designated as the village is the ones who own and operate. Pennsylvania, it's very common for them to do like a third party to manage their stuff, but it sounds like you all have part of the village level.
So have you left some documentation for us to look at, to be able to
Sure.
sign?
Yeah,
I got
Put
that.
on that.
I mean, the contract.
Got it.
That way our,
I think if the board's interested, then Jerry, you just send me the paperwork that we
Yes.
can look at and advise the town.
there you go, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
We
Interesting.
gotta have our
You
legal.
can test our water and tell us if we've got a problem, that sounds like
So,
information we'd like to have.
I don't think we need to vote on this, but Jerry, at this time, but Jerry, if you would forward a standard contract to Fran.
Which vote?
Okay. Any other questions for Jerry?
No, it's
Thank you, Jerry. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Hope things go well.
Yeah, surgery's Friday. So I'll send everything to you sooner.
All right, Fran's got some things for us after this. Comments by board members, starting from my left, Ed,
I more or less babbled through the meeting, so I'm good.
okay, Ed,
I did too, so I'm good.
Elizabeth,
Well, I did too, but I still have a comment to them. We had a recreation meeting last week where we were going over the numbers of people who participated in the summer. Recreation programs especially, and looking forward to enrollment for some of our fall programs, and the rec department continues to just see tremendous growth, participation. People at different ages, and it's been really great, but one of the concerns that's popped up is that we're starting enrollment soon for the winter basketball youth league. And we in the past in Homer have had about 2 teams per grade for both boys and girls for several years, because we just got so many kids who like to do this, and the coaches are volunteers. And families who participants pay a small fee, which covers our expenses, and then the kids play in gyms that come from the school district or the YMCA or the YWCA or the county in the county office building. But this year, the county has decided not to allow games to happen in the gym at the county office building on the weekends. And so what that would mean for Homer is that instead of allowing, instead of getting to have 2 teams for different grades, we would be limited to 1 team. Some of our programs that are limited to strict numbers, like we have a day at Lime Hollow coming up this week, or a running program that we had back in the spring where we had to, for different reasons, have strict numbers. They fill up in a matter of hours. And that's disappointing now to see the change from the county, which is going to limit our village's opportunity to have full participation from kids who want to be active and participate and learn some new skills and play with their friends. And so I'm disappointed that the county has made this change. I'd really love to have more information for it. So Reed is not here. He usually comes at least once a month to check in. But I would just ask if, as we're talking to our legislative representatives, and especially Reed, but anybody else, I don't know if the county understands how that impacts kids on a village level, taking advantage of a village-run program. But it's disappointing to think about, this will be dozens of kids who are pushed out. And I think that's unfortunate.
The only village.
Not, and the YMCA, the YWCA, and the school district, they make their facilities available at no charge so that more and more kids can participate. We're so grateful. It wouldn't happen without them. It's disappointing that the county's not able to do that for whatever reason, so.
Is there a basketball court in the middle school or do they use that one?
That's part of the schools.
That's, yeah, there's
two at the junior high, middle school building.
So they do use those
Yeah.
too?
I don't
Okay,
know if they do the weekend games so much, but they do evening practices there.
yeah, it's,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm with you.
I thought maybe this was just gonna be a tiff, that they were, just flexing for a little bit, but maybe not.
So
Maybe they're gonna do something with the building, I don't know.
our two legislators are Linda Jones and Lee Cleveland. Anybody wants to reach out to them. A couple things. One, I got an email for franchise fees, and I'm gonna put you on that because you're our franchise fee.
Oh, yeah, what's going on?
Well, I'll send you the email.
Oh,
It's time to renew. Assessments. Those went out in the mail. Get them in. We will be talking about the evaluation more in the future, but in the meantime, get your assessments in. We had, our human resources evaluation is ongoing. It's gonna be great. She's talked with a lot of people, just have a couple more to talk to. They're currently on vacation. We've already have a tentative 30, 60, 90-day plan, but more to follow on that. Let's see. All right, as we were reviewing some other things, we need to review the parking contracts that the village currently has out. We will be discussing those more during the budget season. All right, questions?
Mayor, one thing, I think, what we should do, because I've been approached by the Little White Church, and the time has probably come now that they want it. They say will help them, assist them in their DRI application, excuse me, that we should now tender the deed over to them from the village. But I think it would be, I want to make sure we get all the paperwork really up to date. And I think it might be a good idea, since we are transferring property for no consideration, although the consideration, you have to think long term, it's gonna be a very good thing for the community, but there's no financial. We should probably have a public hearing, and I would ask that the board consider bringing this on the agenda for approving to pass the deed at the October 14th meeting and having a public hearing at that day.
good idea.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, questions from the media? Good. All right, questions from anybody else in the audience? All right, now, unfortunately, we will have to go into executive session. Section 105 D, E, and C, which is discussions regarding proposed pending or current litigation, collective negotiations pursuant to Article 14 of the Civil Service Law, and information relating to current or future investigations or prosecutions of a criminal offense.
I'll make that motion.
Can I get a second?
Mayor, before you go in, pass that resolution for the public hearing on the deed for that on October 14th.
Oh, can I,
What time do you
That we
normally
have a
do?
public hearing on the.
What time do you normally do?
Transfer to the Little White Church on our next board meeting, which is October 14th.